and this is your episode of Wake Up with Raus. So, if you're not familiar with Wake Up with Raus, this is where I go into the most recent episode of my podcast release. The podcast is One Life Podcast with Donnie Raus, and the title of this episode is Fire, Ready, Aim. So, what I do here is I go into some of my experiences and explain the logic and the concept behind the episode. So, Fire, Ready, Aim, when you think about making a decision, most people say ready, aim, fire. You look at what it is to go ready. All right, what is it that I want? Aim. Is this going to get me to where I want to go? And then once you're sure of it, you fire. So in the episode that I just posted, I kind of take a different approach. So and this is going to be a subsequent podcast to come out. Maybe I think it's the week after, called Inspired Action. I tend to do the opposite. I tend to do fire, ready, aim. And what that means is I get inspired. I take an action. And then once I take that action, I kind of step back and I reevaluate. Okay, well, is this what I want? Should I keep going with it? And while it might sound it's kind of backwards, right? Well, why would you take an action if you're not sure if it's going to get you to where you want to go? And I beg to differ without stealing thunder from the upcoming podcast, is that inspired action, when you're feeling that burst of inspiration, that is the best time to act. And when you look at any kind of decision you make, what exactly is a decision? What's a good decision? What's a bad decision? Right? There really is no good or bad. It's all contrast. And what do I mean by that? So contrast is just saying, okay, this is the action I took. Do I like it here? Is this something I want to continue going, or do I get some feedback from this where I want to change the direction now? So there is no good and bad. So if you're putting a label on it, then just stop. But rather look at the decision and say, okay, is this what I want? If so, continue. If not, then take a different path. And that's what I mean by fire, ready, aim. And the reason why I endorse this way of thinking is because so many people, they get stuck on the sidelines because they're always trying to logically quantify, all right, is this the right decision? And as a result of trying to figure out whether or not the right decision is in front of them, they actually just loop around in their mind, or they miss out on the opportunity altogether. So if you want to, I can't remember I don't know if it was General Patton. I don't remember who the general was, but they were in a meeting. The story kind of, I'm going to summarize it. They were in a meeting and they had been kind of at a deadlock on a decision having something to do with the military. They brought this general in and they gave him the case. They go, here's the information for case A. Here's the information for case B. What should we do? And he said something along the lines of, well, it's obvious. We should do A. Go ahead, go do it. After the meeting, he was speaking with someone who was at the meeting. They're like, you literally made the decision in 10 seconds. There's no way you could possibly have all the information to make that decision that quickly. And he said, listen, they've been thinking about this decision for, the last 6 years. If they make the wrong decision, they could correct. They just need to make a decision. So one of the decisions is deciding to take action, even if it's not the correct action, because as a result of taking that action, you will auto-correct and then you will take the right action. So, guys, that is really it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Wake Up with Raus. Again, I do this every single week, every time I release a new podcast episode. If you're interested in checking out the podcast episode, it is One Life Podcast with Donnie Raus. Again, One Life Podcast with Donnie Raus, DONNY, space RAUS. And if you want to send me a message directly, you can do so either via YouTube channel, or you can send me a message via Instagram at Donnie Raus, DONNYRAUS. That is it, guys. God bless, and I will see you again soon.